A Magical Girl goes to Anime Expo 2024. So yeah, I attended one of America's most well-known anime conventions, Anime Expo. And I only went for 3 days, but I think that was pretty much enough for me to see everything because, let's be honest, we're all half dead by day 4. My Anime Expo went both amazing and horribly wrong from day 1 to the last day being actually the best day for me. From getting to greet Daisuke in person and then missing out on Ryukishi tickets and Sayako Hara, but I'll get into that later. Yeah, so day 1, I did a list for Artist Alley so I wouldn't have to go through too much, and the booth I ended up spending my most money, or I think half of my budget, was Holly. So she does a lot of really pretty art, and for me the main highlight is her Princess Tutu art. So I basically went up to her table and was like, give me all of your Tutu merch, because it's my favorite anime and it doesn't have a lot of merch, so I recommend you guys check it out. She has some Liar Games, Solar Moon, among other series, and yeah, so please check Holly out. Very lovely art. She's a very big fan of Ikuko Ito, so if you like that art style, you'll definitely get that. This time around, I only really bought a few figures, so I got a figure from Crunchyroll. It was the Perfect Blue Mima, quote unquote. If you watched the movie, you know. Papa Parade. I've been meaning to get it. It was 38 bucks, and so was the Maka Auburn Papa Parade. So some friends helped me get that figure. Day 1, apparently the line was atrocious, and then by the second day there wasn't really a line, and the figure wasn't even sold out. But there were some items sold out. So day 1, you want to try and get whatever it is that you're there to try and get, of course, because you never know if it'll sell out. Some companies sell out their whole stock in a single day, and some companies are like, hey, we're gonna save a certain amount for day 1, day 2, day 3, etc. So I got these 2 pop-up parades, Mima and Maka from Soul Eater. So Mima I had been wanting for a while now because I love Perfect Blue, and I'm hoping for more Satoshi Kon figures, specifically from Paprika. And so Maka only has 3 figures, and two of the older ones are ridiculously hard to find. And I was like, okay, well, Maka's a pop-up parade, she's not gonna be that hard to find. I'll get her eventually when I've saved up more money, because, you know, as a figure collector I have some priorities. Well, lo and behold, I look at the list of Good Smile figures. I see her, I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I wonder what's going on with that figure. Turns out Maka's figure is now like twice or 3 times the price. So I was like, alright, well, now I gotta go and try and get her, because I'm not paying twice as much in market. Which Good Smile might end up re-releasing later on. I don't know. I just wanted to make sure I had her. And then Crunchyroll had this really cool Boruto bag that they put the figure in. So that was neat. Now then, freebies. Viz Media gave out some really neat Bleach coasters, some posters, fans. Crunchyroll probably had the most amount of freebies, but I didn't stop at their booth 24/7 because I was busy running around the rest of the convention. But I did manage to get a solo leveling keychain, and not pictured here is a Kaiju number 8 cam badge. So yeah, you would just line up, they would give it at random times, I think on every hour, and you would get some stuff. I also got some of one of my favorite animes or series, Modao Sushi, Master Demonic Cultivation posters. So Ami had a couple of stamps at different booths, and you could get a stamp for Wei Wuxian or Lang Wanji, and also a postcard if you showed them that you followed a certain social media page called Mimi, and then just semi-big pamphlet poster thingies. I'm not quite sure what to call them. So yeah, big fan that I am, I grabbed those, and this really neat little Ami mask of their mascot, Amiko. So I like that you can fill out their I'm an otaku of and then you can put in whatever you want. So the cage, or what I call the cage. It was basically this semi-big booth with a stage, and Toho was playing openings from their anime series. They had My Hero Academia, they had Haikyuu, they had Frieren, Jujutsu Kaisen. I basically wanted to stick around until they played the opening of Frieren. They also had Kaiju number 8. But basically, everyone started out like against the wall, very shy. And eventually, the lady up on stage would just hype up the crowd so much that you would eventually kind of like go in the middle. Honestly, I don't do this sort of thing, but I was like, you know what? It's convention, nobody knows me. I want to have fun. And I basically knew like 90% of the anime openings. So it was like a semi-karaoke. And then this dude right here, he was the highlight for me. I asked him like, I was like, dude, you're so good at that. And he was like, yeah, I go to Metallica concerts. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. Aniplex also had this screen where they played a bunch of animes. And my favorite one to see was Nier Automata. As a Nier Automata fan, I was standing there getting all the feels. They had some nice figures like this Madoka one. Something I enjoy looking at conventions is prototypes. They had some of the Nier Automata prototypes, but I could not take photo of those because no photo allowed. I guess I could have been sneaky about it, but I wanted to respect that. Day 2. Combined with a little bit of day 1. So I went out of my way to buy a Vtuber's merchandise. His name is Machina Explayon. And yeah, day 2 I just decided to wear his merch. Basically walking advertisement, which was nice because I had other fans come and be like, hey, you like Flayon too? I was like, yeah. So something really nice about conventions is that you get to meet other fans of the things you like, especially if you're wearing merchandise of said things, right? Said fandoms. So the booth I bought these from is ohmonah. So ohmonah is an apparel small company. I think. Well, they're not a big company, but small brand. There we go. That's the word. And they were doing a collaboration with several VTubers, including Holostars, and they had meet and greets for some streamers. A couple of them being Commander Connor, Professor Lando, and Girl DM. Girl DM was scheduled for a meet and greet basically all day except for like an hour or two, I think, break in betweens on the 6th of July, so the 3rd day, and Professor Lando for the 2nd day. Then they did an impromptu one on the last day, which I didn't attend, for Professor Lando and Commander Connor. I was, however, lucky to find Commander Connor at Artist Alley. Someone gave out these really pretty cards, free of charge, by the way. This was all free. You didn't need to purchase anything. You got to take a photo, you got to chat with them, and then they would sign these little postcards for you. And then I like for Lando's, it says Anime Expo 2024. And then Girl DM autographed mine with my name on it, Hasuki, and she has such pretty penmanship. But yeah, so this was pretty much it for my meet and greets, besides meeting Connor at Artist Alley, that I just came across him by chance, and his brother, who was working the booth at ohmonah. By the way, their staff are super friendly, and yeah, I had a great time. They were part of the highlight for Anime Expo for me. Wanted to add that Connor and Lando have a new podcast called Best in Jest, which I believe is on its 4th episode right now. So I'll be leaving links in the description below for you guys to check that out if you're interested, as well as for Reese on his streams and Girl DM streams. Right, so Entertainment Hall. Cover had this section with cutouts of Holostars and Hololive, as well as this big screen where they had a schedule and they would come and sing. I unfortunately only passed by one and it was full, and the staff, the convention security was like, you have to keep going, blah blah. So I did manage to catch a little clip though. I got to be a little bit sneaky about it. And I had to miss the other ones, but I did take some photos with the cutouts as a Makiru myself. So that was very neat, and I hope they bring that back, because it's the first time I believe I've seen them do this at Anime Expo, at least in the last 3 years. They do always have a meetup where Iago appears with the cosplayers and everyone freaks out, and it's all kinds of fun. Next biggest highlight for me was the Hoyoverse booth. So Hoyoverse had only Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. So Honkai Star Rail probably had the most amount of freebies. I'll show some of these on screen, but I think I didn't even have to do everything for Genshin Impact. I think staff just wanted to get it done. But you got 3 stamps. One was take a photo, another one is write something on the wall and then post it on social media. And you would eventually get some little cards at each station, a stamp, and a bag from Fontaine. So that was pretty easy. You get your passport, you get a stamp, you get your bag. Easy, let's go. Honkai Star Rail was a little bit harder because you had to go through 3 tasks, I guess, and you did have to constantly like kind of walk around and come back and be like, hey, is line open? No. And maybe eventually after the staff saw you like 3 or 4 times, they took pity on you and were like, okay, come on, get in line. Or you could be lucky enough to where you got in right as they opened them. So for Honkai Star Rail, I believe it was also a photo posted online. Several cosplayers, different characters would rotate. I didn't catch all of them. Honestly, this year I wasn't as big on freebies as I have been in other years. So I kind of missed out a little bit. So yeah, several tasks. I'm sorry I cannot remember all of them, but you basically got these 4 puzzle pieces at each station. So last station was this big gacha machine with like these balls. And there was this very nice gentleman filling them up. It was random. You basically got some loot. So once you finished all of the puzzle pieces, you got either a coin, as of Honkai Star Rail 1st anniversary, which is merchandise you can buy, a bunch of random stickers. I got like 3 or 4 stells. And I can't quite remember what else. Oh, I think they said it was 50-50. You got an acrylic stand, which I didn't. I lost it IRL 50-50. And you just turn the key, ball comes out, you get your passport stamped, and you're good to go. You grab your goodies from the ball and you go. So I was lucky that they had Firefly bags there, because I thought you could only get them in Entertainment Hall, but luckily you could also get them at this booth. And I was there so early that it was basically the first thing I did when the convention opened. So I was able to get that bag. Pro tip, if you want short lines, the first hour of the convention opening is and always will be the best one, because you're basically guaranteed very little line. Also, closing time. Closing time is when sometimes there won't be as much goodies, freebies, but there'll be a lot less people everywhere, at least in Exhibit and Entertainment Hall, and you can grab a bunch of stuff. I know they ran out of the Firefly bags pretty early on in the day, so I had to be there super early on the 3rd day. By comparison to other years, I think Hoyoverse has improved a lot. The first year they went to Anime Expo, they barely had any freebies, they barely had any merch. It was a mess, and it was in Exhibit Hall and not Entertainment Hall. It was to a point where staff almost closed the convention. The second year, it was a lot more organized, but still you had to do a lot more to, like, slower tasks to get your freebies. So this year I felt it was a lot faster, a lot smoother. In general, I felt that this Anime Expo was probably one of the best ones. So moving on to that topic and the convention in general, I didn't have any issues with the Anime Expo this year. Yeah, there was no issue with autographs. Guest of honors were done online, so I didn't really have to go through the outside line. I don't know how that went for some other people, but basically I made it inside. It was super quick because this time they had machines that would scan your bags for you, and if you had metal, so there weren't really any quote-unquote back checks. And then you had cards that you could tap. So last year we could tap them, but they weren't these machines that could scan. They would still have to go through the bags for you and security. So I do feel we could have used a little bit more security and staff inside the convention, especially managing lines. I think that was a pretty big issue, because most booths are left to manage their own lines and there's miscommunication. But it's, by comparison, by far probably one of the best anime expos I have attended. So, panels. I technically attended 2. One of them was because I wanted to be super early and try to get all the way to the front of the Black Butler panel. More on that a little bit. The panel before that was the King Records panel, and it had guests from Hypnosis Mike and a very well-known voice actress by the name of Sumire Uesaka, who voices Miss Nagatoro and Shaltier. So those are the two off the top of my head that I can remember. And for the Hypnosis Mike voice actors, it was Haruki Ishiya and then Yukihiro Nosuyama. Before entering the panel room, staff of, I believe, King Records were handing out pamphlets of Hypnosis Mike, and it had, well, I'll show it on screen. It's this really nice art style with a magnet, I believe, at the bottom. I haven't quite checked what it is. I haven't wanted to take it out so it doesn't get folded. But yeah, we received that, so I was like, oh, the panel before this will be Hypnosis Mike, and was surprised to see it was a King Records one. And these two voice actors and singers are under contract with, well, King's Records, as well as Miss Uesaka, and as I found out, so is Mamoru Clover, who sings openings for Sailor Moon Cosmos and Crystal, as well as Miyano Mamoru, who has done a myriad of voice acting roles, like Riku from Kingdom Hearts, Steins Gate, man, he's insane. I'm not even gonna go through the list. But yeah, it was a very fun time, and one of my favorite questions during the Q&A, because there was a very casual Q&A towards the end, was towards Miss Uesaka, who they asked, what's your favorite drink? Because she said she liked drinking, and she's like, everything. I like all sorts of alcohol. And the funny part to me was her saying in a very cutesy voice. I have included a clip of them introducing themselves. I believe it was Dice's and Jiro's voice actors that attended, as well as a clip of them singing a song from Hypnosis Mike, which I know nothing about, but after this I will definitely be checking out. So yeah, enjoy. I'm sorry for my potato quality camera. I will try to get a better one for next time. We were allowed to record for this panel, unlike the Black Butler one, sadly, which I believe was streamed though. Just no professional cameras. They were like smartphones, completely okay.
Hello.
お願いします。
はい、僕からいきますね。
はい、石川さんお願いします。
Hi, my name is Haruki Ishiya. Everyone, hello. I'm from Zero Yamada.
Next, 野津山さん。
Hi. Hi everyone. Hey, my name is Yukihiro Nosuyama. Oh, guys. Nice guys.
Oh, nice.
よろしくお願いします。
お願いします。
ありがとうございます。では、上坂さんお願いします。
I'm Sumire Uesaka, voice actress and artist. I'm Nagatoro Yuwa Senpai! Nagatoro, よろしくお願いします。
ありがとうございます。
What's up, LA 調子だろ 渋谷 represent フリーポセラムダ健太郎軍を盛り上げいつもの倍の倍マイコマイネクスト袋の治療パス声がやめて
then, the absolute highlight and my favorite thing from Anime Expo 2024, or one of my favorite, the Black Butler Skull Arc panel. This was the one thing that I was like, I am not missing out on, because, well, autographs were like 50-50 if I got a chance, right? It's all up to chance if I could. But I was like, I'm gonna be there, and I'm gonna be there super early, which is why I was there for, I think, 3 hours beforehand. So, Daisuke Ono, he goes up on stage, and I immediately start crying. The tears just flowed down my cheeks. I didn't expect this, but it happened. I didn't think I'd get so emotional, but something in my brain was triggered when I saw that man go up on stage. I guess it was because it's just so insane to see a voice actor that I admire a lot, and I never thought I'd see or hear in person, just suddenly in front of me, which I believe is part of the reason why it's, if possible, it's great to see them like up close and try to be as close as possible to the front, which I know not everyone can, but if you can, I recommend it, just because the cameraman won't always have the camera on who you want to see, or the panelist you want to see. But anyway, as I said before, we weren't allowed to record, so I don't have any recordings, unfortunately. So here's my retelling as I remember, and what little I do remember. So the panel started with a Crunchyroll staff member, because this was a panel by Crunchyroll, just handing out prizes, or not prizes, but just gifts that they apparently just grabbed from the Crunchyroll booth. They had a big bag, convention bag, and if you were a cosplayer of Black Butler, he would ask you like, what are you cosplaying, how long have you been a fan, this and that, and then you get a little present. So here's a little clip of some of my favorite cosplayers that went up. So we were allowed to record that. And then after that, so that was a bit of a warm-up, right, for the crowd. Connor, aka CdawGVA, came up on stage. So Connor is known for his live streams in Japan and being one of the 3 members of the podcast of Trash Taste, and as well as his cyclothons for the IDF, Immune Deficiency Foundation. I'll leave a link to that below if you guys want to check it out. But you might be asking, what does that have to do with Black Butler? Well, before he did any of that and he blew up the way he has in recent times, years, he did Sebastian prank calls. So he would pretend he was Sebastian and do prank calls to either fans or I don't remember exactly what other people. I watched a few videos, I didn't watch all of them, and it's been so long. And he even did some to fans, I believe, later on with Sebastian's English voice actor, Michael Tatum. So yeah, man has met both the English and Japanese VA for Sebastian. He's also a big fan of Black Butler. And Jojo, who Daisuke Ono voices Jotaro. So Connor comes up, people cheer for him, you know, him having fans of his own. And then him being the host introduces, you know, staff from Black Butler School Arc, right? So we got art director Kenjiro Okada, producer Yoshito Ito, and of course Daisuke Ono. So everyone cheered for the director and producer because, well, yeah, they worked on this. But Daisuke Ono, Connor could not even get the man's name out, and the whole room went crazy, myself included. I haven't felt that much energy and cheer in such a long time. So it was truly a moment, one of those moments where you just have to be there to experience it. So yes, Daisuke Ono comes up. One of the first things he says is, "Yes, my lord." And everyone flipped out. Some of the things that I can remember is, well, Connor asking the staff members, like, what was it like to go and do research in Europe, you know, for the settings and stuff. And they mentioned that if it weren't for them going there, like, one of the things that stood out to them is that they could see the horizon, because in Japan, anywhere you look around, you see mountains. So if it weren't for that, you might have seen mountains. They also asked about the Emerald Witch arc, since that was announced for 2025 at the end of the panel. More on that in a bit. And they're like, so what research did you do? Well, we went to a forest in Japan. Really, we didn't get much of it because the structures there don't really exist. The ones in the manga, they don't exist in real life. But I did get bitten by a lot of bugs, said the art director. There were several other questions they asked that I unfortunately don't remember, but what I do remember was Daisuke Ono's answer to one of them being that he was directed to show emotion as Sebastian and worry over Ciel since Book of Atlantic, I believe he mentioned, which makes sense. And he said, maybe this is my reward for voicing Sebastian for so long since I've had to play him as mostly cold and apathetic. So I thought that was very interesting, and he seems to be very in tune with the character. Around the middle of the panel, Connor brought up a mini game he had put together where he asked the panelists to guess an English word or an English slang word, and he used images for context. So I remember the first one clearly. The second one, I remember the image but not the context of it. But the first one was this image of Ciel, very cute, and it said, Ciel in this photo looks very cute that I, and blank. So the person that actually got it right was Daisuke Ono. He looks so cute, I want to give him a hug. And everyone's like, oh, that's such a cute response. And then Connor was like, yeah, it's actually pretty accurate. And everyone just cheered. We could not believe Daisuke Ono got it right because according to Connor, he had been a little bit quote-unquote mean about the question or the word he had used. So all good things must come to an end. And so did the Black Butler panel, but not before the giveaway. So before the panel started, we got some tickets for a raffle. And, well, I didn't win, long story short. But the winner did receive a shikishi of Sebastian that was drawn by the anime artist. It wasn't by Yana Taboso. I'm pretty sure she would have gotten jumped if it had been. Jokes aside, they were very nice and they let us take pictures of it towards the end. Mine was really bad, I'm sorry. And then towards the end of the panel, so before all that picture and the random raffle thing, the panelists went around the table and took a group photo with everyone, obviously on stage. I was towards the front, so fingers crossed they post that because that's my photo with Daisuke Ono. But Daisuke Ono was just there giving all the fan service to the fans, and it made me so happy to see that. He was waving at the front rows that he could and all the fans he could see, and doing like hearts at cosplayers. He gave us 2 yes, my lord. One at the beginning and one at the end. He did a little bow. So you could definitely tell he's an industry veteran. I absolutely love seeing him. And then, well, panel was over. Everyone said goodbye. Everyone was sad to see Daisuke Ono go. And then I stuck around. I was texting a friend. I wanted to take photos as well as cosplayers that I saw. So I'm going to be posting that at the end of the video. Some cosplay photos. And basically everyone was gone. I think it had been like 10-15 minutes maybe after the panel had ended. And I just hear some people excitedly talking a little bit ways off from me because I was right next to the escalator to go down, ready to leave. There's like 2 to get out of that room since it's like the very last one at the Marriott. And I look up and I just notice, oh my god, I think that's Daisuke Ono. And he has like, I think 4 security guards and maybe their translator. I wasn't exactly sure who they were. I'm just raking my brain like, oh my god, what do I tell him? Do I tell him something? Do I just stand here? What do I do? Well, because I had heard fans doing this at the beginning of the panel and at the end, it stuck with me. And well, he's like a foot or he's like 2 to 3 feet away from me. And what comes out of my mouth is, Daisuke dayo! So the poor man looks startled in my direction, like, how, who, what? And then he noticed me, he laughed, he did a little head bow and continued on his way. And that was the absolute highlight for me. I just stood there flabbergasted that I just told Daisuke Ono, Daisuke dayo, like a little fangirl that I am. So yeah, every time I watch Black Butler, or durarara or anything this man is in, I'm just gonna be like, I told that man I love him. Yeah. So I was texting my friend frantically about it, and during that time, Connor comes out, CdawGVA, and I'm just like, hey Connor, if you're busy, it's okay, but if you can you take a photo with me? Because obviously he seems to be in a rush. And he's like, yeah, one quick photo. He was super chill and nice about it. He's like, enjoy the rest of the con. You look great, by the way. And I was just like, so 2 for 1. 2 for. Because I do like Connor. I've met him before at another previous Anime Expo, when I've been to a Trash Taste stage in Seattle as well for the VIP experience, I think it was. So yeah, very perfect end to Anime Expo 2024, and it's crazy to me that the first day it started with me doing line 3 hours outside and then 3 hours inside trying to get to the Manga Gamer booth, waking up at 4 in the morning only to miss Sayaka Ohara, who voices Beatrice, and Yuka from Triple X Holic, as well as Ursa Scarlet from Fairy Tail, and Ryukishi07, creator and writer of Sisonia, in general, When They Cry, Higurashi, Umineko. But it was ironic that I got to greet Butler's BA, who is Daisuke Ondo, and not Sayaka Ohara. So yeah, first day was really rough, and then best day was my last day. So that just comes to show that you never know what to expect with conventions. Like for Manga Gamer, I emailed them and asked them a bunch of questions, which actually ended up being on their blog later on. I was super prepared for it. I was one of the first people in Artist Alley, and then due to line mismanagement, chaos, and people cutting, I could not get my ticket. And then, out of nowhere, because I happened to stay behind and be at the right place at the right time, I got to greet Daisuke Ono like 2 to 3 feet away from me. So yeah, that's conventions for you. So have any of you guys been to Anime Expo before? Did you attend this year? Any stories you want to share? Because I love hearing convention stories. And if you haven't, do you want to go? And is there something you would have liked to have seen? But yeah, let me know. Links will be posted at the description for streamers that I mentioned. And yeah, see you around. And I hope you have a nice rest of your day. Mata ne!